Greetings, noob lords and members of the Scrub Club. If you're watching this, I have unfortunate news for you. You probably don't know how to play League of Legends. But it's okay. I'm here to help. And I don't mean that in a cocky way as much as it may seem like it. I too was once like you. Someone who knew a little bit but didn't know enough to sort of win games. It's okay, because eventually you, like I, should be able to grow out of this phase. Luckily for you, I'm here to make that transition a bit easier for you. So, this is going to be the first part of a YouTube series that I've been wanting to do for a while now, because I noticed that some people, in fact, have been struggling at playing League of Legends without dying incessantly. So for this first part, I'm going to be sort of giving a brief overview on how to play from a support perspective. Now, this is not a champion-specific guide. I'm playing Tarek because he is just a support that I know how to play, kind of. So, at the start of the game, you'll notice that I've bought a Fairy Charm, 3 potions, and 3 wards. Now, I bought the 3 potions because the enemy is a Zillion, and more generally, the enemy bot lane is something that has a large amount of poking damage. So, instead of saving heal for myself, I could buy 3 potions, use those to heal myself, and then save my champion's heal for Graves. Now, as you can see, we are blue side. We spawned on the blue side, and we are taking the advantage that blue side has, which is killing the golems at level 1. Now, the golems give a pretty decent chunk of XP for whoever kills them. So, if you're on blue side and you're and you know how to do it, it's always advisable that you get those golems with your AD carry. So, as we can see, the enemy bot lane is Zillion Corki, and Zillion, while he doesn't really get much in way of like sustainability in lane, he does throw out those bombs, which, as you can see, have done a ton of damage to Graves. So, going back to what I was saying before, those health potions, if you were to cast bombs on me, would free up my heal for strictly Graves. Now, I know Tarek's heal heals myself as well, but I just felt like buying potions. And finally, the other item I bought, aside from the Fairy Charm potions, were 3 wards. Now, wards are pretty much your most purchased item as a support, or at least should be, with the current meta. Now, wards is basically your Valve makes Dota 2, your Riot-sanctioned map hacks, because wards allow vision for a pretty noticeable radius on the map. Now, with this vision, gives you knowledge. If anyone passes through there, you'll know which way they're headed and how far away they are. And that helps tremendously with how you make decisions in the game. So, another thing that you can do with wards is place them in the brush along the lane. I don't do that just yet, but it'll come eventually. Now, what this wards you is just gain knowledge of where people in your lane are. It should also be known that you can click on an enemy champion to see how many wards they have in their inventory, among other items. But one of the more important ones as a support is to check how many wards your enemy has. If you know that your enemy has no wards, you can tell your jungler, and they can use that to say, "Hey, I can gank whatever lane." So basically, your main job as support is to keep your carry alive. Now, I failed to do that because poke damage is pretty heavy from Corki Zillion. So if they poke down my carry enough, and I don't have the resources to heal them for enough, they can just go ahead and do what they did, tower dive. So as you'll see what I just did, I tried to finish off Zillion, but support on support fights generally don't involve a lot of damage. And I basically just use my flash for nothing. So, since the lane is pushed towards our turret, as signified by the fact that they have more minions on our half of the map, I have not elected to place any of my wards yet, and this is because mostly ward placement is for one of two locations when you're on blue side. It's for the enemy jungle entrance in front of Dragon, or placing it in the lane bushes to grant vision where I would not normally have vision. Because, like, even right now, I'm just standing in the bush, and that's where I'm getting vision. Now I drop a ward since I know that I have to back off, because Zillion came back to lane, and I had no mana. So the reason why I didn't ward in front of Dragon is because that ward is typically for watching jungler ganks from the enemy team. And since we're at our turret, the enemy jungler would have to dive us at our turret and take turret shots in order to hit us. And since that's not really common before level 6 at least, I felt pretty safe with my ally Graves. More poking going on onto Graves, just kind of eating bombs all day. Nothing's gonna happen for the next little bit because, face it, we're stuck at our turret. We're not moving out. They're not coming in. So just farm, farm, farm.
Opal for Hama.
So as you can see here, I'm recalling. I still have 2 potions and 2 wards left in my inventory, so I'm basically using this recall to get back mana and purchase an item, as well as a couple wards and some boots. Those are all pretty typical items that you'll find on a support. As I said before, this is not a champion guide, so my item build's pretty irrelevant. But basically the reasoning behind the GP gold per 10 items such as a Philosopher's Stone, Heart of Gold, Cage's Lucky Pick, or Avarice Blade is that as support you're not really getting CS a whole lot, and CS being creep score, which is killing minions for gold. So to get gold you can use runes, the Mastery in the Utility Tree, or these gold per 10 items, just to get that much more gold while being in the lane.
Sapphire.
So I've come back to lane, eating Corky Rockets, and Graves and I are just passively
Emerald
behaving ourselves. I checked to see how many wards Zillion has in his inventory as well as mana right here. I know that they placed their ward at around 609 the last time, so since wards have 3-minute duration, their ward's going to fade at 909, and as you can see here, Zillion leaves to the top of the map to go place that last ward he has in his inventory.
With clarity.
I think I click on him here to make sure that doesn't happen, but I guess not.
Sapphire for divinity.
So when I see Lee Sin walk into Tribush, that's when I decide to notify him that the ward has been replaced. Graves needs to go back because he took a ton of poke damage, and all I have is a pretty weak heal. Pretty much nothing's gonna happen bot lane for
Gems hold their edge.
another little bit. I end up dying 3 times in lane this game, which is never fun. And here I notice that Zillion's recalling, and I figure he has no mana, I can go disrupt him. So I stun, use my ulti, use my shatter, and then start whacking on him. But once again, I'm not quite able to kill him. I get him pretty low though. I'm basically just buying time between, or buying time for Graves and I, and making sure that Corki and Zillion are kind of segmented from each other. By that I mean by delaying Zillion's recall, and since Corki's already has recalled, Corki's gonna come back to lane faster unless he waits for Zillion, and hopefully that, and if he waits for Zillion, then my carry gets ahead through CS and whatnot. And if Corki doesn't wait, then we have some time to 2v1 him. So as we can see here, I'm pretty pushed up to their turret, and this ends up costing me because I was waiting for my ultimate to come back up so that we could possibly kill Corki at his turret, but the turret kills the minions before that stays a safe option, and then Twisted Fate comes down with his ultimate. I get stunned and shredded apart by Corki and TF. And then there's gonna be this snide remark from Zillion because he's an asshole. Bam! There it is. It's okay though. I'm glad I used that flash because at the moment it seemed like a good call. So I die. I have about 670 gold. Not really a whole lot to buy with that much gold, so I just built towards a heart gold and a couple more wards. So as you can see right now, we have the river pretty well warded. We could see that Mundo coming in for a gank, and then you can safely alert your carry to back off.
A summoner has disconnected.
So I go into Tribush to check if Mundo's still there. It turns out he isn't. And since Lee's down here, I figured we could probably try ganking. So I get off the stun onto Zillion, who was pretty low, but he used that to revive himself and he ends up dying. I get away, as does Graves. And Mundo's pretty scary of a champion at level 6 because his ultimate means he can tank a turret and enable a dive. TF ends up coming down from mid, stuns me, and I stun him in turn. I almost go down, but Graves did not back off far enough, so he ended up just kind of dying to the enemy bot lane. And then TF tries to teleport in and finish me off, but we trade stuns again, and then I exhaust and get away as pretty low health. If he had landed a Q, probably would kill me. But right now, the team just getting a dragon. And that's another one of the tasks that you have as a support. While not explicitly your job, it's pretty helpful to watch when the enemy team gets objectives, because all objectives respawn on a set timer. So enemy team is slain the dragon at 13:39. Dragon respawns every 6 minutes. So the next time it will be up is at 19:39. I don't think I make this announcement for a while. In fact, I think I also give the wrong time. But that's okay. I tried. I'm such a scrub. So, the ward faded from Dragon. Place a new one. And all is good with our vision in bot lane. But yeah, just as a quick side note, that's the reason why Twisted Fate's pretty cheesy in game sometimes, is that his ultimate just means, oh, your wards don't really do a whole lot because I teleport from one place to another. Granted, there's a huge sign that says, hey, I can see you and I can teleport when he uses his ultimate, but it's still pretty annoying because you spend 75 gold for a ward that didn't do all that it probably could have with most other champions.
Emerald for insight.
course, Zillion placed another ward to the Tri-Brush. Gray's taking a ton of damage. Need some more bombs.
Sapphire for divinity.
And my heal is... it's not strong enough. I think I ended up maxing Shatter over heal this game, which was pretty dumb of me.
Ruby for
But I
vigor.
really think that we probably could have won a couple more fights if we just went for the counter engagement whenever they went into poke.
Functional.
But I
Stylish.
never really communicated that with my Graves, so he just kind of ended up beating a bunch of poke that I couldn't heal enough. So our turn's getting pretty low, so I decided to ditch it because I can't really handle the just the harassment that I'm taking while at my turret, and I would probably just die even though I have like 900 HP.
Brilliantly.
So I decided to go back with again 700 gold. I'll change my ruby crystal into a heart of gold, and buy some more rewards, and get ready to go back into the lane.
Opal for
Now
harmony.
the lane is going to be pushed towards our inner bot turret. So the places where I put wards are going to be slightly different. I may in fact have to use more wards than normal. So before,
Emerald
bot lane
for
was pretty safe with just the one ward at dragon, and maybe a ward in one of the lane bushes. But now I have to keep vision of the Dragon River,
Brilliant.
the Tri-Brush in bot lane, and quite possibly the jungle entrance near mid lane by the Wraiths, because those are all points at which the enemy team can sort of
With
roam
clarity.
into and make their way into bot lane and kill us. So there I typed down the timer for dragon, even though the kill happened like
Emerald for insight.
4 minutes ago. I camped this bush to see if Zillion and Corky are wrapping around, but it turns out they aren't, so I let them know that they're headed up towards mid. Lisa ends up getting caught here and takes a ton of damage, but he does get out safely. Corky uses Valkyrie over the wall. And here I get a bomb from Zillion, which lets me know that there is a ward near the Tri-Bush area, where I placed my ward.
Opal for
And
harmony.
as much as people should be aware of the entire map, as a support, you're probably going to be in bot lane, I'd say just starting off, focus on what you need to be doing. Don't worry about any other lane, just focus on what you need to be doing, and that is maintaining vision around the map near bot lane, and keeping your carry alive. Now, as I said before, I've done a terrible job that Graves has died twice, I've died once. Enemy team is just too strong at this early level for us, and I think Graves is behind in farm as a result. Now, granted, I could probably stand to be a bit more aggressive with my stun and
I will weep for you.
with my stun to engage onto the enemy team, but that requires a lot of communication, and that's not really something that's readily available in solo queue, because the League does not have an integrated voice system, and you'd have to like type stuff out or use pings, and sometimes the pings are ambiguous or it takes too long to type, especially for me since I'm a pretty slow typer, as you'll probably notice in this game if you look at the chat. But here we see Zillion make his way towards mid, so I figure, hey, the enemy support's in mid, I should probably be there too.
Ruby for vigor.
Jarvan, after having taken down the outer top turret, also made his way into mid, and is laughing, because that's what you do to demoralize your opponents.
Sapphire
Just spam the laugh
for
emote.
divinity.
Jarvan comes in for flag dive, so I just stun him to make sure that he doesn't get his ultimate off,
Opal for harmony.
and retreat with bombs on me. Now, an important thing with Zillion about is to make sure to stand next to someone, so that he does as much damage as possible.
Ruby
So
for
after
vigor.
we've killed someone, someone makes the call to head towards Dragon. I place a ward here so that we get vision of the enemy team if they choose to come in.
Emerald
Vlad,
for
however, is
insight.
still in mid, so it's basically a 4v4 if we were to start dragon and the enemy team came down. So we back off while Vlad and Veigar regroup,
With clarity.
and the enemy team starts doing the dragon, so I place a ward and we get the vision of it. I think I placed another ward out of redundancy. Nope, please didn't place that ward.
Brilliant.
But we do successfully catch Corky and take a bit more damage than we probably needed to, but we end up going for the
Opal
dragon.
for harmony.
So their AD carries down. He's the one that's been doing a ton of damage to me bot lane, but I end up getting caught in front of Dragon. And then some dumb thing happens where Vladimir, I think he tried to steal Dragon with his ultimate, but he ended up just getting caught, and then Graves went in to help with his cannon beams, and then we end up feeding 2 kills for
Double kill.
nothing, and they got Dragon on top of that. So as you can see, my slow typing here, because I'm pretty mad about this, because we had 5 people alive. There was absolutely no reason to go in 4v4 if we weren't going to go in 5v5. But mistakes happen, as I'm told. It's everyone's fault, but God, it's really frustrating sometimes when that happens. But just gotta maintain your composure. So I think here I actually go AFK despite chat being spammed with enter quotes. Because I need to help my parents with something, but
Rampage.
Veigar picks up Corky in mid lane. Good, good. I decided to buy Merc Treads and Wards,
Sapphire for divinity.
because, as I said before, Wards are probably going to be your most purchased item as a support. Now I notice here that there's a bunch of minions in bot lane, and Graves is off farming Wraith, so I figure
Emerald for insight.
we can probably just push out the wave, because recently their entire team has been just sieging up in mid lane. So
Brilliant.
we kill a couple waves and allow bot lane to push. And seeing the enemy team in mid lane,
Ruby
I decided to
for
start heading
vigor.
up there myself. I was hoping that Graves would just keep farming, but he just kind of clears the wave and comes up to mid as well.
Sapphire for divinity. Emerald for insight.
Now our mid turret's pretty low, so if we don't clear the wave fast enough, they can just chip it down, but Veigar gets a lucky, well, not lucky, extremely skilled catch onto Zoe with the stun. I tried to disrupt the team for a little bit while my carriers got away and then stun Corky to minimize the amount of damage I take. It was probably extremely unnecessary, but I did it anyways, because, as I said before, I'm not that great. And here we notice that we could clear the maze fast enough, so the enemy team takes down the mid lane turret. So at this point we've lost all of our outer turrets, and it's become more necessary to ward closer towards the turrets that we do have. So I place a ward there to get vision of people coming in and out of the jungle. And here we have a fight break out. I stunned Jarvan here, but he still does a fair amount of damage, and I end up dying.
Enemy double kill.
I was hoping with that stun on Veigar before Jarvan came in would keep him still for a bit while my team came in, but I didn't really notify them that, hey, there's a Corky here and he's stunned, because that takes a while to type, and it's hard to ping when you're spamming all of your abilities. So I'm dead again. I'm 1-3-3 at this point. Not exactly an ideal score. Our team is behind 6 kills, so I've contributed to our team being behind.
or divinity.
Another large mass of minions has showed up bot lane again. Lee Sin gonna get his golems, and the 2 of us are gonna push the lane out a while. I think it ends up pushing to their turret and destroying it, but I don't really remember. In chat, they're arguing about Vlad's build, which at this point I think is a Ninja Tabi, Chain Vest, Cage's Lucky Pick, Heart of Gold, and you can go read any guide about Vlad to know why this is not the greatest build for him.
With clarity.
So small skirmish is breaking out in mid. Graves gets kind of low,
For harmony.
and I kind of autopath towards the inner turret and walk right past a Jarvan doing a wraith, which could have ended really bad for me had he been paying attention.
Emerald for
But luckily he wasn't, so I get off scot-free.
Opal for harmony.
So here I'm chilling in the back where Graves is coming from, and Graves is coming from our base. And as I'll probably state multiple times in this video, your goal as a support is to keep your carries alive. There are some supports who don't do this as well as others, and some supports who are more focused towards an aggressive way of keeping your carries alive, and by aggressive I mean by controlling the other team as opposed to
with clarity.
Like staying near your carry and peeling for them. So we're about to see a team fight break out here. Mundo runs into our team, so I stun him while Vega stuns Jarvan and use my ultimate and Shadow to buff my team and do damage and debuff the enemy team. I use my heal on, I think it's Graves, because face it, he had a bomb on him with about a third HP. He didn't really need it, but gotta heal someone. Can't let that cooldown go to waste. And here the wards see that TF is still in our jungle, so Graves and I go separate ways to cut him off, and then Lee Sin comes up from behind us and brings flash get over red wall. And stun plus damage equals dead TF. So here we see Lee Sin making his way towards Dragon. And me typing that Lee Sin could have just queued over the wall to see if Dragon was still there. But it turns out Dragon is still there, so we go and grab that free. Here I'm just rebinding my spacebar because I wasn't refocusing on myself.
Sapphire for divinity.
And as you may notice, I use the spacebar quite frequently as camera refocus. So it's 29 minutes into the game, and at this point, Baron is basically really a big option for the enemy team because they are so ahead. So place a ward where I did, as it was on the minimap, to watch the enemy team if they go for Baron. Now I only had wood ward in my inventory, but I do recall to buy an Aegis of the Legion, which is a great support item. I highly recommend it, at least one per team, whether it be your support or your jungle to get it. But yeah, so I buy the Aegis and I buy a bunch of wards. And the wards are going to end up in the enemy jungle, so that, or the enemy jungle behind the Baron pit. And those wards are there to see if they're making a move toward it so that we have more time to react to them possibly taking Baron. Because that Baron buff is pretty useful. I'm going to take this time to say I'm going to use a lot of, as I'm sure you've already noticed, I'm using a lot of terms that most people might not know, but I'm hoping that anyone who's watching this knows enough of the game to understand what Baron buff is, what Dragon is, respawns, etc., because that's more fundamental than what I'm talking to you now, or telling you now. So if you don't understand those fundamentals, I wouldn't even recommend completing this video until you do. So here another ward goes down to me. The enemy team moves onto us. We burst down Jarvan, and then we start to give chase. Mundo lands a cleaver, and TF lands a gold card stun Lee Sin. So we couldn't really catch up to them. But I take this time while in their enemy jungle to start warding it up with the wards I have in my inventory. Unfortunately, Mundo has an Oracle's Elixir on him, so he's able to just clear the wards shortly after I've placed them. Now my team went for Baron, but I was pretty hesitant about it because the enemy team still has 4 players alive, and those 4 players are pretty strong. But it turns out we're able to just melt them. Zillion uses his ultimate onto Mundo, and Corky dies to being separated from the team. So we ended up picking up 2 kills, which is good because we were a bit behind, but we ended up getting pretty low, so we just kind of all go back and heal up.
Opal for harmony.
Yeah, Oracle's Elixir, pretty good investment for the 400 gold. If you're either not dying as a support or your team is ahead, spend the 400 gold on it and clear the enemy wards to die in the vision that they would otherwise have.
Brilliantly.
I feel like that was gonna lead into something else, but I couldn't think of it. So if you were wondering where the end of that sentence was, it's never coming.
Emerald for insight.
If your teammates aren't scumbags,
Opal for harmony.
killing a ward would grant you 25 gold, but it kind of conflicts with your goal of, as a support, which is keep your carry alive, but also to get them fed. And any money helps, so that 25 gold it's fine to go on the carry. Even though you're only spent 400 gold that you don't normally generate too quickly to see the ward that they ended up killing. So here we have a bit of a stalemate in the middle. Our team, not exactly the tankiest, considering Vladimir's item build, as well as the fact that our Lee Sin is behind the bubbles, and I'm not really that tanky yet, well, at least in my opinion. Some people will probably disagree with me and they'll probably be right. So we're just kind of waiting for them to engage on us, and then use our strength, which is counter-engaging by stunning and just catching people. So you're gonna see Veigar land the stun onto Jarvan, who gets the Zillion ult pretty spectacularly. Here I'm not with my carry, and the rest of my team is focusing Jarvan. So I fucked up a bit because I wasn't doing my best to keep my team alive. But I got out, and Vladimir, I'm not sure what he was thinking. So at this point the rest of my team is dead, and I'm just a support that doesn't really do a whole lot of damage, and I don't survive that long either. Versus 4 players on the enemy team at my turret.
Opal for harmony.
So I don't choose to be a hero like some people would in this situation. I let them take the tower, I let them take the inhibitor while my team is reviving.
Sapphire for divinity.
Your inhibitor
That's
has
sometimes
been
just what you
destroyed.
gotta do to not allow your enemies to get more ahead.
Brilliant.
Since it's come back and took all my CS there.
Your team has
Top
destroyed
lane
a
pushes
turret.
itself, which is really good for us because we
Ruby for vigor.
really need that gold. We're down, I think we're down a dragon, and we're down
Emerald
down,
for insight.
like 4 turrets before top one died.
You shall be crushed.
So my wards just faded near Baron, and I need to replace them. It's really risky
With clarity.
to be out here alone. This is why I stay pretty close to the our jungle, and only go out to check for Baron wards with someone else because the buddy
Opal for
system
harmony.
is always effective.
Brilliantly. Sapphire for divinity.
So there I recall by another stack of 5 wards. Some of you may be wondering why I have a null magic mantle in my inventory versus like 5 more wards, and that's basically because their team is pretty balanced in terms of damage overall, but they're a bit heavier on magic damage, including Zillion, Twisted Fate,
With
and
clarity.
some of Mundo's damage. And I just kind of want to live. Plus the null magic mantle will build into a G, or Guardian's Angel,
Emerald for insight.
or Guardian Angel? Yes. No apostrophe S. Bot lane's pushing again, and the ward sees the enemy team head to Baron because Mundo did a terrible job of checking for wards. So here I place another ward into the bush, and another team fight breaks out. So I stun Mundo. I wait for them to get clustered up a bit, use Untitled Chapter. I get focused down / guided slash between Mundo and Corky. But our Veigar does a really good job of cleaning up towards the end here.
An enemy has been slain.
Chomp.
Double kill. A summoner
And
has disappeared.
in the end, the last man standing is Veigar.
Slain. Triple kill.
And I scream with excitement, like a man. However, mid lane, since we lost that inhibitor, it's going to start naturally pushing along with the other lanes, because when you destroy the inhibitor, the other lanes get slightly stronger minions, so they just push on their own. Veigar does his best to make sure that the minions in the middle lane don't get too far up into our base, because super minions are pretty strong, not gonna lie.
Brilliantly.
Now, as a support, it's pretty imperative that you know how to spend your money. So, like right now, I have 1,000 gold, and my items aren't exactly completed. I'm still missing the Guardian's Angel that I'm going for. Either Locket of the Iron Solari or Cerelia's Reverie that build out of the Philosopher's Stone, or Hard Gold and Philosopher's Stone, respectively. And instead, I just take the money that I had, which was about 1,500,
Emerald
not
for
1,500,
insight.
like 1,800, and bought up some wards and refreshed my Oracle's Elixir because that fell off when I died. Hero's a bit hesitant about whether or not I should keep pushing bot lane or place wards. which is silly because I shouldn't even have to make that decision. Like, think about that decision, should just be
Your inhibitor
get
is
wards.
respawning soon.
That's it. Place them.
Opal for harmony.
So I see Mundo almost coming in from the mid lane, but he doesn't really try for anything.
Brilliantly. Emerald for insight. Sapphire for divinity.
So yeah, before a team fight fully breaks out, you just kind of play defensively and wait for someone on your team to engage. This could, and the engage can come from any number of sources. It could be just a tank straight up engaging on the enemy team. If you're sufficient in your skill and the damage from your teammates,
With
you can be the one to
clarity.
initiate. Or if you have a pro Vagar, he can land the stun ring and just pick someone off, and that's your cue. Hey, it's a 4v5 now.
Sapphire for divinity.
We see the enemy team in our jungle around our blue buff, so we go and stop them from getting it, because as late as it is into the game, blue buff's still pretty useful.
Ruby for vigor.
And we also see them now getting Baron. They do back off and go into that bush that most people tend to go to when this Baron dance starts.
Opal for harmony.
And it's just a series of poke wars for a while.
From cold.
Lee Sin goes for the engage. Stuns landing all over the place. I end up stunning Corky and we burst him down. Once again, I end up dying due to a damage and some sort of luckily, my team is able to finish off the entire enemy team, except for TF, who uses teleport to get away. I ping him and tell someone to go back to stop him from taking the turret and the inhibitor. So 3 people are taking Baron buff for our team, which is fine because the entire enemy team is basically dead or nowhere near Baron. Just Fate not even stunned, just kind of stays in the landing spot for Vagar's W. Not really what you want to do versus a Vagar. But yeah, so when I look at the scoreboard, since it shows you how long the enemy team has until they revive, I give the call to
Emerald for insight.
get mid turrets, because the earliest that any of their players would be up would be 10 seconds, and then it was like 20 seconds and 15 seconds for the next 2. And since there were 4 people in mid lane, that's a pretty easy tower to get. At this point, everyone else is up, so I was pretty worried about them being up so far, getting the inner mid turret, but they end up doing just fine.
With clarity. I will weep for you.
So right now, the team is just taking the money that they've gotten from Baron and the 2 towers to go back and buy items. Here I'm gonna get another 5 stack of wards. And what we should be doing is just grouping up and pushing somewhere, but we end up spending a bit of time just kind of dicking around. Like right now, Lee Sin's in bot lane while everyone else is in mid. And despite the fact that we have Baron buff, it's still pretty dangerous to go around by yourself placing wards. And I'm still placing these defensive wards because I'm not sure where we're gonna be. So if the enemy team tries for a flank on our left side through the jungle, we have that vision. I just recall buy up to 5 wards again. And here we start pushing because we only have a little bit left for the Baron buff before it expires.
Emerald for insight. Brilliantly.
And this is basically how you kind of want to set up 13 fight. You're tanking your people in the front, you're squishy, carry people in the back. And then we kind of break formation a bit, but that's okay. Start to poke the enemy team at their turret. I'm just keeping an eye out for someone to come into our team if they want to engage, and then just immediately stun them. I place a ward over the wall here to just get more vision than what we normally have. And I could be playing a bit more aggressively since I do have the GA. I could be the one to initiate the fight. The other team is just playing it slowly. Our Baron buff is about to fade.
For insight.
But there goes the engage with the stun from Veigar. Window's by himself, so I don't know if the stun condition there doesn't go anywhere. And then he's not able abilities.
An enemy has been slain.
And from here we get the tons of kills. And we win the game. So since this was the first video, I'm sorry if things I said got a bit repetitive, or if I used a certain, like, a couple of phrases too much. But any feedback would be nice for the rest of the videos, and I'll see you guys next time.